you are seeing this right now before 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, I want to encourage you to hop on, check out my YouTube page, go to my LinkedIn page. I'm going to be going live, and we're going to be talking about setting a vision as leaders for 2024. I'll make sure I'll put the link in the live, so then you can just click it and just watch me live. We're going to have a good time. Now, if you're watching this afterwards, it's totally cool because you'll be able just to catch the replay. I'm excited about talking. I'm excited just to honestly be live again, but you're not going to miss it. I promise you. It's going to be good. And even if you aren't a leader, you'll still learn a lot. So, see you guys on the YouTube space. Happy New Year, everyone. I am so glad to be back here today. It's gonna be a fun time today. We're gonna be talking about the Vision 2024 Vision Blueprint for ultimate success. Vision Blueprint for ultimate success. I just want to make sure, y'all, I'm so excited for those who watched my last live stream of the year. You will know there was so much there was a lot of debacle with the microphone, but I have actually upgraded over the holiday, so I'm super duper excited just to come in and we're gonna chat and we're gonna hop right in on a couple of things. And so first off, as always, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to have a good time. For everyone who is watching, make sure that you say, "Hey, I can see all of your chats and conversations on my side. I want to make this as interactive as I possibly can." But just so excited. Uh, Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm gonna share this actual one comment because I did. It's from my husband. He said 4K audio. I thank you. I'm super excited about that. I was it was that last live of the year definitely was uh it was a hoot, if you will. All right. So as we're thinking and talking about 2024 and setting our vision for 2024, I really wanted us to focus on a couple of things, right? Um, I wanted to understand, like, first to have a conversation about what is vision, right? How do we set vision? What is vision, right? What are some sustainable things that we can actually do to achieve success? But more importantly, we're going to talk about systems in the process, right? Because that is the key piece of the puzzle when we think about how do you achieve success? What does that look like, right? Most people don't achieve a lot of the goals. I don't know the stats. I should just Google the stats really quickly just so you get an understanding of goal setting stats. I just now thought about that. I was like, man, I should have thought about that before we got here, but it is what it is. I've always told you guys it's going to be as honest and open as we possibly can. So, when you think about goal setting statistics, right? There's a lot of different, research and different things like that out. But in order for you to be successful, especially as leaders, we've got to understand what it is that we're going to be doing. So when we talk about vision, right? You've got to understand that vision and goals are not the same thing. Vision, goals, systems, they're not the same thing, right? So when we talk about vision, when we really define that, your vision really is about setting what we'll call like your core values, right? What are your core values? And I've talked about values before. Your vision is going to be largely based on your values, what it is that you're trying to accomplish as a leader and or as an individual. So your vision really is it's kind of twofold, right? And so a lot of people struggle with vision, right? Because not every, I'll say, like, action taker, you've got people who are really good and task oriented, a lot of times can sometimes struggle with setting vision and kind of that visionary mindset. And a lot of visionary people, I'm a visionary myself, struggle to be in the details of actually how it gets done. But as a leader, you've got to learn, one, it's good to know where you are. Like, are you more of the task side, the reality, grounded in reality, or are you more aspirational? But the sweet spot is to kind of find a balance between the two. And that takes a little bit of exploring and discipline and going from there. So when you're thinking about your vision has to be both aspirational and grounded in reality, right? So your vision is something that, especially because we're going to be talking about vision setting for the year, not vision setting for your organization. It's vision setting for your year. You should be setting a vision for yourself as a leader and setting a vision for your team and then casting that vision to your team for the year. Okay. So when we think about vision setting, the reality is we've got to figure out the difference between reality, what's aspirational, and then your values in between there. So How do you set vision? Number one, what are your core values? What are your core values as a person and as a leader? That is going to be your compass in helping determine what your vision is. Now, the next thing you think about when you think about vision as an individual and slash as a leader, the next question that I would ask you is, who do you want to be? What type of leader do you want to be? This is very important because I think a lot of times people come into leadership questions not even asking themselves, what kind of leader do I want to be? Do I want to be a leader whose team respects me? I'm well respected. Do I want to be a leader who maybe well respected, not really liked, and I'm cool with that? Hey, that's some people's mojo, right? What kind of person do I want to be? Do I want to be somebody that operates with the highest level of integrity, which means I'm doing exactly what I said I was going to do? Am I going to be action focused and action oriented? Setting a vision really is about who you want to be because you can't, if it, I'm not gonna say you can't. I will say that it is hard pressed to set the vision for your team if you don't know what your vision is as a leader. If you don't know what type of leader you want, then and who you want to be, then it kind of wishy-washes, right? So I'll give you a great example. I don't have my vision statement. I don't think I have one for myself as a leader. My vision statement I have for a leader, but I can tell you, for me as a leader, my vision was to lead authentically and inspirationally. My vision as a leader was to continue to grow my team as well as myself, both personally and professionally. I had a vision as a leader that my team would not only know that they could rely on me, but they could also rely on each other, right? My vision for myself as a leader was also one that I was respected, not just within my team, but in my broader work group and across other stakeholders, right? You see where I'm going? Like, I get it. Sometimes, we can overcomplicate things and vision becomes like this big, huge thing that we have to write out and type out. I would even encourage you could take everything that I just said, drop it in chat GPT and say, I want a vision statement for the year, right? Like, actually, you know what? We'll do it just because I can. We're gonna pull this up. We're gonna see what chat GPT says. And I'm gonna share my screen. Um, let's see. I'm gonna share my screen here. Um, there we go. All right. Because I want to show you just how easy it is to set the vision because sometimes it's hard to come up. It's hard, y'all, coming up with stuff out of thin air kind of by yourself. I get it. It's tough. That's not the one I wanted. Okay. So we're actually going to move this window so it's a little bit wider. There we go. All right. I'm actually not going to use, I have a prompt generator. I'm not even going to use that because I just want to make this as easy as possible. I need we'll put it this way. You are an expert in vision statements. We'll say you're an expert in writing vision statements. Okay. I want a vision statement as a leader for 2024. I believe in authenticity. We'll say integrity. Remember, these are values, right? We'll say excellence and collaboration. This is very much a huge part of this is very much what I would say my style is as a leader in the vision. I want to inspire my team to be better, and we'll say individually and professionally. And I will continue to learn and grow as a leader. Now, here's what's really important, okay? Here's I want to talk I'm going to put a pin in it real quick. So say for instance, one of the things that I want to work on this year as a leader is I want to um also I want to get better at networking. I and so I'm going to make this aspirational as well. So everything I put up until this point, right, has been what I would say it's all been pretty set in reality, right? And say it says I am a great networker and working to expand my network. That's what we'll put. I complete projects. We'll say my team and I complete projects on time and with excellence. This is all I'm going to do for now, right? Just for the sake of time. Because once again, if you are a leader, in order to set the vision for your team, it is very important that you have set a vision for yourself. And I want to take away the stress or what people feel like the stress is writing a vision statement. One of the key indicators of whether people achieve what it is that they set out to do is if they wrote it down. If you have not wrote it down, you're already taking you're already making this an uphill battle. Now, when you talk about success and what we need to do and what we're going to be doing, we're talking about setting a vision, setting a team vision. We'll talk about that. We'll probably use ChatGPT to help you guys with that so you can see, right, how I'm leveraging this tool. Um, and then after you do that, you've got to put a plan in place. And then you've got to share it with somebody so that they can help hold you accountable. These are all things that are going to really move you forward. When we talk about how you create a vision blueprint for ultimate success, this is what we're doing. This is how you do this. Tell somebody what you're going to do this year. I promise you, it's going to look a lot different. Okay, so what we're going to do. So now we're going to set the vision. All right. So this is what I've told Chat GPT. I've told them it's an expert that I want to write a vision statement as a leader for 2024. I believe in all of these things, right? So I'm going to pump it in and I'm going to go boop. I'm going to drop it in. Okay. So now here's the cool thing about this. ChatGPT it's a draft. This is a great way to get you from 0 to 50%, 0 to 80%. And so I'm going to read what ChatGPT came up with, but I'm going to show you how I even tweak ChatGPT even as I'm going in because it's a great work partner. My favorite coworker is ChatGPT. It's really where I come into a lot of ideas and trying to kind of get things moving and flowing to kind of point me in the right direction. Okay. If this is good, if this is making sense, let me know in the chat. Don't be shy. I know you all are watching, so just let me know if you're enjoying this, if this makes sense. Okay. So, this is what ChatGPT came up with. It said in 2024, as a beacon of authenticity and integrity, I will lead by principles of excellence and collaboration. My vision is to foster a culture where every individual feels empowered to bring their true selves to the table, ensuring that we collectively rise to the new heights of professional and personal development. As I continue to evolve and expand my leadership and networking skills, I aim to create an environment where learning and growth are not just goals, but they are the very foundation of our success. Together, my team and I will set the standard in completing projects not just on time, but with unparalleled excellence. We will be a testament to the power of unity, inspiring each other to become the best version of ourselves professionally and personally. What? That's just first draft. Okay. Now, you could say, "Hey, Latoya, this is great. This is more than enough of what I need already." Okay? And so you can actually start here and say, "This is good enough for me and I feel like I can go directionally." Now, I'm going to use myself as an example because I think it makes it a little bit easier. So we talked about the importance of setting vision for ourselves. This is a great vision statement for myself. Now, what I'm going to do now is we talked about now, how do I go do this? This sounds great, but Latoya, how do I go do this? What does this look like? Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to stop sharing for a minute because I want to talk to you all. So, how do you go about doing this? Winning the game. Winning I want to say winning the game. I don't even want to say game. Winning at being a leader, trying to achieve success as a leader. A lot of people think it's done like we're going to go over the vision statement. We're going to talk about strategy. We're going to talk about all of these things, but I will tell you, you win in the trenches day to day. Everything that we're doing today is only as good as what you're doing day to day, because day to day is what adds up. If you are not a leader and you're watching this, it's the same thing. This is all the same principles. I'm just applying the fact that I'm applying the leadership side to it because that's the part I'm passionate about. But I'm also passionate about this individually as well. I will absolutely have vision statements. I do them a little bit differently, personally, because I look at areas of focus on who I want to be as a wife, as a mom, for me as a believer, as like a member of my church. I talk about like what I want to be as like financially. Like I write all of these aspirational things out for each area of my life that's important. And that's how I actually set my vision for myself personally. But professionally, one solid one solid vision statement for who I want to be and what I want my organization to do and be is ultimately sufficient, right? So, we're going to come in and now we've got this. And when we talk about winning day to day in the trenches, James Clear, if you're not a part of my newsletter, I encourage you to go to latoyacollinsjones.com. I slightly I quoted him just a hair in my newsletter this morning that went out. But James Clear talks about we do not rise to the level of our goals, but we fall to the level of our systems. Your vision, from moving from your vision to your goals, and then from your goals to your day-to-day action, which are going to be your systems. What are your habits as a leader? All of these things add up. And so while we can make all of this great, I want to figure out, like, part of this is how do I help you understand the importance of this? Now that I know, I could wake up every morning and I could come upstairs, and my office is upstairs in my home office, right? Um it could be a coffee shop, doesn't matter. It could be your actual office in your building. And every day I sit down and I look and I say, this year, I want to be a beacon of authenticity and integrity. I will lead by principles of excellence and collaboration. My vision is to foster a culture where, right? And I continue to do that. And I read that every day. If I read that every day, you don't think it's going to alter how I show up every day in a good way? And maybe on a bad day, maybe you're struggling a little bit. It's okay, because you're going to go back and you're going to be able to read this and ground yourself back to where you're going. This is your vision, is the North Star. That's why it's important to set a vision for yourself for the year as a leader, and then set your vision for the team. Okay? I hope this is helping. Let me know. You guys are quiet today. In the chat, is if you have a question, I just want to encourage you, make sure you ask a question. For those of you all who are watching on LinkedIn, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching this on YouTube, I absolutely can see your questions. If you're watching this back as a replay, still ask the question, because I can always come back next week and ask the question, or ask it or answer. I can always come back and ask the question. I can always go back and answer the question in the comments for you, or I'll do them live as well. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Make sure you just say, "Hey, I hope this is really resonating with you." Okay, so we've now set our vision as a leader, right? We've used Chat GPT to set our vision as a leader. Okay, now what we're about to do next is I've at least established what I want to do and how I want my team to operate. And now I'm going to go back and I need to set my vision as a team, because I want my team to understand not just the work, right? Everybody shows up, it's like, oh, okay, I show up, I expect to work. I've said this before, probably on this live before. I think one of the most underrated ways that we talk about burnout is we don't talk enough about how we work. How we work is a heavy piece of, I think, why people burn out. Be honest, I think that was, for me, like how I work and the way that I work and I work with others and the culture around me has definitely contributed to that. And it's either energizing or draining. Let's keep it 100, right? So, as we're thinking about setting the vision for the team, it's not just the work. It's not just that we do the work. It it goes beyond that, right? So now that we've set the vision for us as a leader, the next goal is to set the vision. Who do we want to be? How do we want to be seen as a team? And so for me as a team, one of the things that I'll give you an example and then we'll tie it back in and I'll show you how I would do this potentially with ChatGPT. Um so I did expect my team to collaborate, foster a sense of collaboration. Honesty and openness and respect were also really big for how I wanted my vision, setting the vision for my team. My team, one of the other visions was my expectation for my team was to be present, right? Um, if we're on a call together, be present. Don't multitask. Don't do emails, right? Respond. One of mine is I do not like surprises, right? And so I would tell my team I would rather know, right, ahead of time if something's not going right or you're struggling or you're late, right? Communicate, communicate, communicate. And then that way we can always find the remedy for doing this, right? So when you know what you want, how do you want your team to feel and look every day? This is how we now set the vision for the team. So you've now set it, who you want to be as a leader. Now we're going to set how are we going to work together this year? Not just what we're going to do, but how are we going to get this done? And I've just given you a couple of examples of some of the things that I did and I was looking at. So now we're going to hop back into ChatGPT just for the heck of it. And we're going to see where we're doing this. And the reason why I'm doing this and I'm particularly passionate about bits and pieces of like using AI to help you with this is because I think we can sometimes, for me personally, I can over engineer some things. Okay. And in the process of me over engineering things, I get stuck and then I just won't put pen to paper and I won't finish. Using ChatGPT as just like a coworker to help me think through and process and get those um I think Brene Brown came up with it or she might have heard it from somebody, that crappy first draft out. It's important to get that crappy first draft out, and if you can get that done, then what ends up happening is you'll be able to kind of go in and right figure out those pieces of the puzzle. All right, so let's see. We're going to go back and we're going to share again. Oops, shared the wrong thing. I'm a little out of practice, y'all. It's been a couple weeks since I've been live. All right. So, here we are. So we've got our vision statement as a leader, and you're going to take it, you can take it, and you could tweak it and go from there. Now, I'm going to say this is great. I would also like to what will I say? Create a vision statement for my team. Um and then I'll say please take into account what was already written and the following. I expect be present and engaged on time for meetings and projects. Um, uh, we'll say respect, communication amongst peers and stakeholders. Another big, thing for me as a leader was also accountability. Okay. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Um, now, before I go on, this is the cool thing about it. So let's just say you like Toya. This is great. This is my stuff. These are the things that I'm passionate about and I really like in as a leader in what how I would set, some of these pieces of the puzzle together for really how I would set the vision cast for my team for the year. Um, but what I will say is this. Um, so maybe some of these don't resonate with you, and that's okay. Um, Google values and find what values resonate with you because everything I'm putting in here are pretty much like values and principles, and it's going to help lead the way. Okay. And while I was talking with you guys, I thought about something problem solving, problem solver, and innovation is really, really big for me because I believe in like thinking outside the box, right? Um, okay, so now that I've done this, so we're gonna hit enter and we're gonna see what chat GPT can come up with for writing my vision statement for my team. Okay. Now, this is what um I love because here's what's really important. As chat GPT has come up with my vision statement as a leader and my vision statement as a team, I think one of the cool things is sometimes, I would do these types of workout workshops with my team here and there. Or, another thing that you can also do is once you get a draft of the chat GPT, right? And how you think about how you want to articulate it, um, go back to your team and say, hey, this is my vision. Maybe it's a team meeting or say, hey, this is my vision for the team for this year. Take a minute and just like read over it and let them read over it. And then say, hey, actually, this is great. Thank you. And what I want to do is I want to open it up for feedback. Is there anything that you think I'm missing? Is there anything you would like to see? And so then there becomes a sense of ownership in also making sure that this vision comes true for you and the team as well. And encourage them to write their own personal vision statements. It's not a requirement, but I think like it always kind of allows it to go back. I would say probably my personality is I would just share my own personal individual vision statement if I'm being honest. I just be like, hey y'all, just so y'all know, I would encourage you to, set your own vision statement for the year as well. And here's mine and I would just share it with them. But I'm a big I'm big on authenticity, and that's kind of just like my thing. But like I get it, like some people don't want to share it, or you can even say, hey, these are some suggestions for how to create your own vision statement. So now let's see what it came up with for the team. So it says in 2024, our team is committed to a culture of presence, engagement, and punctuality, both in meetings and in delivering our projects. We envision a workspace where respect is the norm and effective communication amongst ourselves and with our stakeholders is our strength. Our team operates on the bedrock of accountability, ensuring that every member feels responsible and empowered to contribute meaningfully. As problem solvers and innovators, we embrace challenges with the mindset that values thinking outside of the box, driving us towards creative solutions. With a mindset that values thinking outside of the box, driving us towards creative solutions. Sorry, didn't read that as a comma. That was awkward. Together, we will embody a team that not only achieves but exceeds our goals, reflecting the values of integrity, excellence, and collaboration. Our commitment is to continuously grow as individuals and as a collective, setting new standards in our field and inspiring each other to reach new heights of professional achievement and personal fulfillment. Right? I get it. Look, if you are in an industry that doesn't talk like this, I get it. I understand. This is probably outside of comfort zones. Okay. But what I will say is this to me is it's the North Star, right? Like everything that was said in here, like this gets me, like reading this gets me excited. And I don't even, it's just me on my team right now, y'all. Right. But this gets me excited. It gets me excited to be like, yo, like this is who we are. Right. And I think as a leader, what I love about here's what I'll say. I'm going to come back. We're going to close this out for a second, and then we're going to get into kind of talking really about goals and systems next, a little bit in this live today. But here's what I'll tell you that's really, 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 really important for me. Why I think setting a vision and having a vision as a team, especially as a leader, becomes really important. If you do this, even if it's like baby steps, like something like ChatGPT knocked this out, created what I cared about as a leader, and then created what I wanted my team to care about and what that looks like for me as a leader and how we collectively work. And then they come together and they help shape it. And then now you have this thing and there's a level of ownership. Why is this important as a team? Whether your industry talks like this or not, as a leader, this is our North Star. This is up here, 10,000-foot view. It doesn't matter what happens day to day in the trenches. This is who we are. Now, anytime you have somebody who is operating outside of the vision of the team, you now have something to point it back to because we've all established a level of expectation, right? We've all established this is how we will work. This is who we are. We've co-signed on this. If they're new to the team, they get the vision. That's one of the things that I did as a leader. Is like, hey, here are my expectations. This is what I expect from my team members. This is what you should expect from me, right? We're establishing that. So anytime anything happens outside of that, it becomes a lot easier to reset back into motion what it is that we're doing, right? For those of you all, a good example of this for those of you all who follow sports. If you follow sports, man, it's been a it's been a doozy in the sports world. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I guess depending on what side of you were on that one, I wasn't upset, but I get it. Okay. So if you in the sports analogy, okay, you look at every team, they come in, they know who they play week to week, and you come up with a game plan. In the process of you having a game plan, you know how to execute that game plan. Okay, they actually are a heavy run team, so this is what we're going to work on, right? And then you'll sometimes hear coaches say, "Yeah, this was like we lost because we didn't stick to the game plan." Right? Every leader has a game plan. So, as you're coming back to your game plan, your vision is really what's going to help drive your game plan forward. And anytime things go a little bit awry, it is your vision that becomes the foundation for how your team is going to be successful. Right? Hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense to you all. Okay. All right. So, okay. It's funny. New mic. I touched it. It mutes. It's different. Okay. So now that we have a vision set, right? Personal vision, we have a team vision. The next step that we're going to be doing is now we've got to figure out how we set goals for the year. Now, it depends on your nature of work. It's going to be really hard for me to kind of encapsulate it all, but I'm going to do my best. Because I know that there are different industries who different leaders in different industries who watch this. And so it becomes kind of hard to I don't want to necessarily 100% generalize, but it's the easiest way that I can kind of help as many people as possible. And then you can customize it based on your industry. So we have the vision. The next thing is setting the goals. How do you set your goals for your team? I think you have what you call, so I don't think, I want to get out of the habit of saying I think. So you have core work. I've talked about core work before. Core work is the thing that you do that everybody on your team was hired to do. Okay. That is your core work. I had a DEI team. My team, their core work was DEI systems and processes and projects. That's their core work. Right. And so how you set goals based on that, I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of OKRs. Really as that North Star, because it to me it really ties well into like vision setting, aspirational thinking, metrics. So if you haven't, there's a book I'm looking. OKRs for All is a really great book about setting OKRs, but let's just say, and OKRs means objectives and key results. It's a great tool to help you kind of understand. But let's just say, for the sake of it, you don't know anything about OKRs. I'm going to make this super simple. I just nerded out for 2 seconds, so my apologies. All right. What you have to think about is, what objectives do you need to get done this year? Depending on your work could be that there are projects. Your work could be for some organizations. We use McDonald's as an example here in a second, or maybe I'll use Chick-fil-A, who flavor of the month. But some metrics are the same regardless of what year you're in, right? And so you've got to figure out what that looks like. So we're going to use, like I said, we're going to use Chick-fil-A as an example. Um, when you think about goal setting for the year, um, parts of their business are the same. Sales. There will always be sales. You've got waste. In the food industry, how much food have we wasted? You have drive-through time, right? God bless Chick-fil-A, because they be own it, okay? Um, drive-through time, okay? You have customer satisfaction, right? Or like raving reviews and all of those things. So right, so there are there's some businesses that typically have the same thing. If you're in the customer service industry, it's number of phone calls in, it's ratings, would recommend, not recommend. You guys get where I'm going with this. If it's project oriented, it's amount of projects completed and on time, or like, right. So there's a way that you can go about figuring out how to set your goals for the year. Now, once you understand what it is that your team is going to be doing, that may not change for you year to year. The volume may change, the expectations may change, but I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to, sorry, I'm just making sure I keep a LinkedIn feed up, because I can't always, sometimes LinkedIn doesn't act right with the software. Um, so I just wanted to make sure we were good there because it was buffering. Um, Year to year, it may not necessarily change, but I want to challenge you to really think about, how do you know that you're successful? If we we're going to fast forward now from January to right now, which is where we are, to December 31st, 2024. How do you know that you were successful? Even if you do the same work year to year to year to year, how do you know that you're successful? As a leader, how do you know that you're successful? As a team, how do you guys know that you're successful? Drive and figure those things out going forward. Okay. Now, man, I had these questions queued up, but this is, hopefully this is helping you all kind of get through really understanding like this blueprint, because I think it's going to be extremely important for the year. Okay. So, now we've established we've established vision statement individually. We've established vision statement for our team. We've established how to potentially get some goals and objectives. And in a minute, I may use ChatGPT to really kind of bring all of this together for you in a minute. And then the next thing are systems, right? So how do you create a system to ensure that you're successful? So, James Clear says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. What is your system for success as a leader? So for me, I'll give you a couple of things that I did very practically. My system for success was, number one, I always blocked out lunch. Why? Because you have to eat. And I did it. And let me tell you why I did this. I blocked out an hour every day for lunch. I didn't always get an hour, but at least I knew that if nothing else, I was probably going to get 30 minutes and allow me the opportunity to get away, walk away, get some fresh air, do all of the things that I need to do so that I can be sharp for the rest of the day. That was one of the things I did. A system for me was regular one-on-ones. A system for me was team meetings and setting up team meetings. A system for me, um, a lot of times was I blocked out deep work time. I blocked out time for emails, right? In order for me, if we go back to what this said, right? The principles of excellence and collaboration, where I'm talking about like reaching new heights professionally and for personal development. I also blocked out time for professional and personal development. If you don't have a system in place to get any of these things done, it's not going to happen. So you can lay out the best goals possible and you can create those, but goals are really contingent on what habits you have and what systems you have. I'll never forget I'll never forget when I got promoted to be a leader. I remember probably about a week or 2 in, definitely a month in, and I was like, "Yo, this has been great. My system works great for me, but the second I got the team, my system stopped working because my system couldn't how I worked and how I operated could accommodate me. It didn't necessarily fully accommodate the fact that now Toya was running a team too. And so I had to take a step back and reestablish my systems as a leader, not as an individual contributor. Hope that makes sense. I hope that helps somebody today because I think that's such a big thing. Because I often, when you come in and you're a leader or you get promoted from an individual contributor to a leader, especially if you've come from leading, you're now leading the team you used to be a part of. That's a whole nother dynamic for another day, but you're kind of set in that system. And so you've got to reset. You've got to figure out a new system for your new role. My personal system that I had broke within a I would be nice if I was saying 2 weeks. 2 weeks was probably enough for people to figure out that I had gotten promoted and then the system broke. Okay? So this is going to be really really important. So let's go. Okay, I've got a few more minutes. I don't want to keep you all long. So let's just explore this together. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and we're going to see if ChatGPT can even help us come up with a system. All right. Thanks so much. I want to come up with some habits and systems for myself and my team to ensure that we are creating daily habits. Let's see. I want to come up with y'all. I know this is like probably the world's longest run on sentence, but it's okay. I want to come up with some actually we'll say can you actually thank you so much. You are a systems and habits expert. Um please come up with some habits and systems for myself and my team to ensure that we are creating daily practices is what I'll say for success based on the vision statements above. All right, let's see what happens. This is fun. I love this stuff. Okay. Now, what you're seeing is a system. Now, what I love about this from a standpoint of what ChatGPT is doing is once again, the goal here is not to take everything from ChatGPT and copy and paste. You can do that. I'm not gonna say don't. But what I am gonna say is take the time to kinda really look through and read through what this looks like. And for the record, I am gonna be posting this now. Hopefully, I'll start to go audio, doing an audio version of this. So if you hear me, if I'm reading more, it's because I'm hoping that this translates well. If you're listening to this, you can always go back to the YouTube and watch what I'm doing real time. I said to the YouTube, so Southern. Go back to YouTube. Okay, so what I did was I just told ChatGPT that I'm a systems and habits expert and to come up with some habits to really help us come up with some really good daily practices to help us figure out how we're going to foster the success. Now, keep in mind, this is just all culture. This isn't even like the work side of things because you can almost, I'd say, for the most part, pretty much kind of copy and paste this in. And what I'll tell you for those of you all who are watching, thank you for watching. Before I go and read through this, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in. I want to make sure I set aside time to do this. Um, Typically when you all are quiet, I always hope that it's because you're really engaged and you're taking notes. But I'm also here just to really make sure that this is as interactive as possible. All right. So ChatGPT came up with 3 sections for me. It said 1 for personal development, number 2 for team success, and then number 3, it gave some shared practices. And so this is where the system comes in, right? So number 1 was it said, hey, to make sure that I'm doing this, dedicate 15 to 20 minutes each day to reflect on my leadership journey and learn something new. This can be articles, podcasts, interactions, set up weekly networking goals, set a weekly target for networking, such as initiating conversations with professionals or attending a networking event every month. And then authenticity checks. Regularly assess if my actions align with my core values, my authenticity, integrity, excellence, and collaboration. This could be a part of my daily reflection. All right. Now, team success, it gave some really good ideas. It said team engagement calendar. So schedule regular team meetings and one-on-ones, which we discussed as part of the system, ensuring they start and end on time. Respect for each other's time is key. Communication channels, establish clear communication channels and protocols. That's a huge one. Encourage open and respectful communication. Accountability system, implement a system where team members set goals, track their progress, and hold each other accountable. This one is really, really big. It's also why I like OKRs because everybody sees what everybody's accountable for and doing. And I think it's it's powerful. Some people don't like it. I love it. Because you can see how your work ties into your other peers' work, how your work ties into your broader team, into your broader org, into the larger organization. Um, Problem solving, you can host regular brainstorming sessions. You can do recognition and feedback mechanisms, create a system for recognizing efforts and providing constructive feedback. This could be in team meetings or through a shared acknowledgement board. Once again, it's all culture. And then personal development plans. Encourage each team member to have a personal development plan that aligns with the team's vision. Regularly review these plans in one-on-one conversations, right? All good stuff, right? These are all systems and habits. Now, there's some shared practices that talked about morning kickoffs, you know, setting a quick team huddle. That depends on what you are, daily goals, energizing the team, skill sharing workshops, organize monthly workshops where team members can share skills or knowledge, fostering a culture of continuous learning and growth. Wellness and mindfulness breaks, encourage regular breaks from mindfulness and wellness activities, reinforcing the importance of being present and engaged. And then quarterly vision reviews every quarter. Review your vision statement to assess progress and make adjustments as needed. And I would also add, we used to call them QBRs, um, quarterly business reviews. And so setting where you're going to be going. Now, all of this is really the softer side, I would say, the softer but necessary side and foundation of leading a team successfully. This is the part of leadership that I often think gets overlooked because we hop in and we just do the work. And what I find and what I think as the generations evolve on what work is and what work means, these things are going to become more important. Soft skills are going to be more important as a leader than hard skills, right? For and just so we know. So hard skills versus soft skills. Everything that we've been talking about really around vision blueprints and what that looks like. These are heavily on emotional intelligence soft skills. What they call soft skills, which I think is kind of whack because as soft as they are, they're probably some of the harder things to do. Soft skills are hard. And then you have hard skills, and hard skills are like actually doing the work. And one of the things that I find with promoting from within an organization, while I'm a huge, huge fan of promoting from within an organization and promoting from people who are doing the work, I also find that when I am coaching other leaders and individuals, and even when I've seen it, in my own like work experience, it is easier to lean into the hard skills of the work and not always take the time to do the soft skills. And then sometimes we don't even stop to do the soft skills until like something breaks versus creating the system to do for the soft skills because they will lend themselves and yield way higher ROI when it comes to the hard skills of actually doing the work day to day. Because the team was doing the work before you showed up as a leader. Or if you're taking over as an individual contributor, that work was being done and has been done, right? If it's a new role, kind of slightly different, but you get my drift. And so it's really, really easy just to lean into the work and not create the system that you also need to be successful for building a great culture. Because your culture, Peter Drucker, we talked about that. Um, I guess maybe the last live of the year or the second to last live. The earlier we talked about culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I've seen it time and time and time again. You cannot out strategize poor culture. You want to see highly successful teams, highly successful companies. You will find organizations that have a great culture intact. And there are teams and organizations that are successful that their culture is trash. But you will likely find that their turnover is not good, right? Their turnover is crazy, right? People are not happy. And even if you're successful, for me as a leader, I could be wildly successful, but knowing I'm not making a positive impact on the lives of the people who I feel like I get to lead would be enough for me to want to create a culture that's great. And I get it. That's not everybody's mojo. But we have a responsibility as leaders. We get to be leaders. It's a privilege. It's not a right, right? You earned it, but you earned the privilege to be a leader. You've earned the privilege to be able to lead others. And we have a responsibility as leaders and in leadership to drive for greater impact. And we can't forget that as we're working to achieve what it is that we do. And when you set a good vision blueprint for the year, these are going to be the things that really propel you forward for success. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, so I just want to make sure before we close this out. It's crazy. I had like some really good questions that had already come in, but this took a little bit longer really talking and teaching through this. And I thought it would be really good, especially because as we're talking about, I wanted to leverage AI in the process so you all can see how to do this. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. If you just give yourself an hour a week, 1 hour a week to work on stuff like this, you would be amazed. And here's the thing. I do not want to hear leaders, and I'll say even if you're individual contributors watching, if you say you do not have time, I'm calling BS. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've done the math and I'll do the math again. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to do it again because I really want to stress this. If you say that you do not have an hour a week to work on this, to work on vision setting for yourself or your team, checking in on your vision. How are things going? Creating, making sure you have the maintenance, working on systems. You don't even have to do all this in one setting, but give yourself an hour a week. An hour a week is 2.5% of your time a week. If you don't have 2.5% of your time a week to work on this, you probably need to check some things as a leader. You just do. Something's out of whack. If you don't have if you can't find an hour a week to get this type of to work on this type of things, the soft skills, but also like I said, soft skills are the foundation of team success. Real talk. Real talk. Foundation of team success are soft skills. I'd love for somebody to come holler at me and challenge me on that. That's how confident I am in it. And if you can't find 2.5%, that's 1 hour. In a perfect world, I tell you, I'd love to see you put in like at least 1 hour a day in kind of looking at this, but let's just say it's 2 hours. It's 5% of your time. 5% of your time to do this. Watch how things change for you. Just watch. Figure these things out. Get a system in place for setting the vision for your team, creating a system around how you're going to make this work as a team, then work on the work side. Everything else will be like, because some of this stuff, okay, I'm done after this. Okay, I'm going to be done with this live in a minute, but I have to talk, I have to say this. A lot of times where leaders fall short in this and they don't take the time to set a vision for themselves and set a vision for the team and then figure out habits and systems in order to make sure that that team is real, like that you're actualizing this vision. You don't take the time because we assume everybody's on the same page. And then what happens is when we're not on the same page, we're shocked. But if you come back in and once a quarter, you and your team are sitting down and still talking about the vision and maybe what has worked and what hasn't worked and what needs to change and how you all are going to continue to work together, my God, you would be surprised at what you can do in a year. But we're inefficient in our soft skills. We're inefficient in vision setting and vision casting. We have a deficiency in this area. And we don't treat it as a deficiency as long as the body like it it's just like any other mechanism, right? Like I'm an athlete, I do CrossFit. I can show up and I can work and I can move some weight. Like just so y'all know, like over the what was that? In December, I hit 310-pound deadlift. I can move weight. I'm really good at what I do. However, if I am to start to become deficient in other areas or parts of my journey and what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish, eventually it will deteriorate. So, setting this vision blueprint, setting what we need to do and put into place, you cannot be vision deficient. Huh, that'll preach, right? You can't be vision deficient. You have to set these things in motion and then put the work in its place because now the team will know how the work will get done. You all know how you will engage with yourself and each other, uh with each other, with your stakeholders. You know now that you're going to be performing with the spirit of excellence. You have a gauge to bounce this off of, so now when you go and you tackle those goals, it's real, baby. It's the real deal, Holyfield. Okay, I'm done for the day. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this, thumbs up. If you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, feel free to share. I've enjoyed today. Got me fired up already for the year. I hope that this lit a fire for you and this was just as exciting as well. But thank you so much for watching. I'm excited for what this year has ahead of us. I am working on a few other things. So you'll be hearing more from me. I'm launching a leadership course this month. And so I'll be sharing more about that. I'll even put, I've got a link at the bottom, leadership momentum. I'm doing some free leadership momentum coaching sessions. It's 30 minutes. If you want to take advantage of that, let me know. But I'm excited, y'all. This is a new season, new year. The end of the year, got 10 episodes in, and the goal is to get 52 this year. So, with that being said, I hope you all have an awesome, awesome, awesome day. And remember to lead authentically and passionately. Bye, y'all.